how I went from a nobody to networking with top traders with 100K followers and killer traders no one has heard about. Now, this tweet has been going kind of popular, at least for my kind of tweet standards. So I thought I'd want to do a video kind of maybe going a bit more in detail on each kind of part of the story, giving you some extra parts and some extra tips, at least from my experience. So kind of how it started was I was just identifying a value or skill I could help traders with that were further ahead of me so I could get in contact with them. Originally, this was a pretty challenging thing for me to find. It did actually take quite a while to think, what could I possibly give a profitable trader if I'm not even profitable yet and I don't have like some amazing strategy that they could use or I could really recommend or things like that. And I realized the biggest core skill I had was I had focused a lot on systematic trading and algo trading at the time, and I also was getting proficient, well, at least pretty proficient in trading coding. So at the beginning, I was starting out doing quite basic projects. So this was mainly like pulling a very simple data set or maybe helping someone create some very simple simulation of a entry and exit. I think I've also mainly the couple kind of things I started with was some Discord bots. So this was kind of things of like, oh, getting fundamental statistics on a ticker. So I could type in slash SAI and it would tell me like the market cap and the float and things like that using like Finviz, for example. So there was a lot of those kind of small projects to build up a kind of portfolio in some sense of what I was being able to accomplish and how useful it was to a trader. I quickly learned some of the things like doing fundamentals quickly using Discord. For some traders, it was super useful. For most traders, it wasn't really anything that they would find very valuable. So a lot of people didn't respond to me if I messaged them about like, hey, I could, help you set up a fundamental Discord bot or something like that, right? So I kind of slowly moved forward with my main goal of just networking with other traders. And most of the time, this was just free or at a very low cost. The main thing was to just build up the opportunity to work with traders and build up that kind of circle so that I could maybe reach out to them if I wanted advice on my trading, if I wanted advice on a particular trade, or if I just wanted to, help them or, charge them for a particular thing, which kind of gave me a good balance. It was, you need to, at least from what I've learned, I know I'm still pretty new to building up my network. I've been very blessed with how much I've been able to build it up in such a short period of time. So that is why I feel somewhat responsible to that I can give some advice on this. However, the Short Bear did a great topic on this as well about networking, and I agreed with a lot of the points. And I also noticed a lot of similarities that I was doing, and I'd never even noticed those were like common things people would talk about. So one of them really was having something you can provide as a service or as like a business, but then being able to provide that for free or like a win-win situation. So something like, if this works for you, then you can give me like a shout out, and that's no direct cost to them. Sometimes that does have direct cost if they're like a very big following or things like that. But most of the time, someone's very happy to give you like a testimonial if you do some work with them, especially if it's in like a specific industry such as like trading, where, to be honest, a lot of traders don't contact each other that easily. Most of the time, it's just through like Discord rooms or things like that. And even then, it's very hard to get to know someone through a Discord room or just through DMing them on every single day, something like that. So what I really learned was being able to provide a service directly to someone instantly gave someone the idea that you had something of value that they could take from. At the end of the day, some of this stuff is very transactional. Obviously, in a perfect world, we could just contact anyone and they would respond and be happy. But people that are higher ahead of you will have less time than you most of the time, or will have a higher regard for their time. So you need to provide something that's equally as valuable or almost as valuable to get their attention and for them to actually reply to you. So that's really the biggest problem solving with networking, because most of the time, yes, it is great to network with other traders that are at your level, and that is also useful. But most of the time, to move ahead, you want to be able to network with someone that's further ahead of you so that you can get tips or tricks, or just even get a look into how their daily routine works, what they're kind of looking into, things like that. So yeah, I focused on just building my reputation by providing reliable services and focused really on word of mouth. Originally, I thought I may have to do some like advertising or some kind of like marketing thing, but after really assessing what I liked in the trading industry, none of it was marketing stuff. A lot of the times, the things I really appreciated was free value. So someone just like doing a podcast or doing some free tweet value or doing a blog post, like Trade the Matrix. He has become so popular, and that's because he provides so much value for free on just his blog post. I remember reading a couple of his blogs. Well, I've read a lot of them, but One that I definitely remember was how to handle red days or something along those kind of topics, and how it's more difficult when you're younger and when it's kind of changes when you get more experience in the game or if you're older. So all those kind of things were super interesting to learn from, and you could definitely, when you read his blog post, tell that he's been in that position and then has like wrote about his experience from it. So a lot of the time I realized that that's what I really appreciated in the trading industry, and that's what I wanted to do. Obviously, I know this because some people have messaged me, but once you're straight new to trading, I just don't think there is anything that you can provide straight away. I would say after a year or so, there will be something you can provide in the trading, either perspective, struggles you're struggles you're having, or how you've tried to fix a particular struggle. Even sometimes just saying the same things but in a different perspective can really help someone. A lot of the time when you look at podcasts or trading podcasts, people are saying similar things, but they're putting them in different lights. Whether that's, on purpose or if that's just how they speak, it can really resonate with different people on different levels. And I've noticed many times where I've had someone say pretty much the same theory of something you need to do in trading, but one person makes it sound very connected to me and I really understand it and kind of actually employ it into my trading, while the other person, I kind of dismissed it or didn't really think about it. So definitely different perspectives on the same topic are still useful. So once you've got like a year or two of trading under your belt, I think you can still provide that new perspective for people that maybe need it. And I think that's ultimately what's very valuable as well. And that's kind of how I mentioned. So I additionally started to post consistent content to kind of build up the free value, as I know that's what was worth it. It does take you a while, I would say, to get used to posting free stuff that people can go over and tell you you're wrong, or tell you that this isn't correct, or maybe just provide hate for no reason. Luckily, I haven't really experienced too much of that, so I'm very happy about that. But one common thing is, though, it's good to put out content and for someone to tell you you're wrong. It's actually very useful. It stops you from being in like an echo chamber. So that is very useful in trading, especially when trading such a lone wolf kind of game. However, I will say a huge caveat to this. Trading, there's also so many different styles that if someone denies your style, it can put doubts in your brain and make you trade worse, and that's going to lower your execution, and that will actually make your trading performance worse. Whereas if you hadn't had that external comment, it can actually keep you, consistently trading well and having good execution. So it is a bit of a balance there. You do need to be careful whose opinions you're letting in. If someone responds and they are like a well-known trader, then I would be more open to kind of taking that advice. And then if it's from someone else, I really have a ponder about it. I put it down in my kind of like journal, actually think about it. Is this something that I should be doing? Is this something I am wrong about? And I kind of give it a deep think and kind of like a relook. Lastly, as I mentioned here, like networking is similar to building a business. You really do need some testimonials to build up your character and reputation. You can't be going and replying to people or messaging people out of the blue with no sort of reputation or just kind of free value behind you. At least it's going to be a lot harder. I know some people, like I was amazed that Lance responded to me so early on. I don't think I was even posting anything that was that useful. I asked him a question in the DM and he was gladly responded to me and gave me a pretty big paragraph as a response as well. So there are some people, exceptions, that are just amazing at responding to people, but I bet now Lance is so busy and has so many DMs, it's probably going to be less likely. However, I do know a lot of people in the trading space are very open to connecting and just messaging new people. So I would say give it a shot. Like, don't be shy to DM someone. Definitely reach out. Reaching out is, I would say, always better than not reaching out. The worst someone's going to do is ignore you, and even worse than that, someone's going to say no. But most of the time, that isn't going to impact you very much. You can always reach out again and maybe provide something for free to them, or some kind of perspective or whatever free value and skill. And then they'll maybe respond differently. I've had many people that I've said no to, but then they've messaged me later on and I've, reconsidered, or they've provided me something that's more interesting, and then I've kind of like talked to them about it. So, it's a trade-off. You have to just try it, reach out to everyone you can. Don't spam them. I'd say try once. If they don't, reply to you, then maybe try again in like a week or two, something like that. No spamming intraday. That's going to annoy a lot of people. And then most of the time they actually won't respond to you. So it is a bit of a patient game. You need to pick your times correctly. I've also noticed that context was a huge thing in this. And I actually, when I say 70% higher success, I have actually journaled that and noted it and put some statistics behind like my reach out attempts and how successful they've been. If you can have someone that's mentioned on their Twitter, I'm really suffering from not being able to pull data, for example. that is such an easy one I can help and fix. And if I message that person, most of the time they will respond to me to that because they actually are suffering that problem or issue right now. And if someone's saying they can fix it, I would say a high likelihood someone's going to respond back to you and actually say, oh, really? Like, how could you help? So all those kind of things are really important. If you can get context, that's great. Sometimes you can't, but sometimes even small context can be really good. Like the way I was able to talk to one trader was he mentioned on a podcast he got into algos, and then I instantly reached out to him just to like give him some suggestions, give him my perspective. And from there, I was able to talk to him many times, and we've kind of created a connection through that. So even slight context is really useful. And I think it's because once someone sees a message that is relevant to them, they automatically have seen that you've put in some time and effort to actually create a message that is directed at them, and you're not just sending like a spam message out to everyone. So that's very important. That's definitely a key kind of tip for networking. As I put here, the 3 main tips is you want to identify a skill or value you can provide. Don't be shy to reach out. Seriously don't. I would say reach out to everyone you can. Most of the time they won't respond to you, but the times they do, it can be really impactful, and it's never something you're going to lose with, I would say. There's no huge risk to reaching out to someone, so definitely do it. And 3 is look for context. If you can get context and you follow up to date with people, so for example, I have about 20 traders I have notifications on Twitter because I want to know every tweet they message, and if they do have a problem or something I can help with, or just because their content's also really good, I want to keep up to date with them. And that's kind of it is a daily task. You do have to have time about your day to do that. But most of the time, if you designate 20 to 30 minutes every day to kind of checking on those, 20 people you really want to reach out to or you really want to get in contact with, you'll probably find some kind of opening within a couple of weeks, I would say, to actually be able to reach out with context. As I said, it is a bit of a patience game, but those are pretty much all my tips on how to start building your network. And I'm glad everyone's been enjoying this tweet. I'll try and put another tweet out maybe in the future if I'm able to come up with some even better tips for kind of growing your network. But I would say definitely devote some time to this. I know someone commented, don't over devote time to networking because it will be impactful to your trading. As with anything, it's a balance. You do need to obviously focus on your own trading, but networking can be a huge thing to push you along in your trading career as well. You can discover things a lot quicker. You can learn from people's mistakes a lot quicker. And those are like key things that can push you ahead in your trading career and make you not have to waste a whole another year of suffering from a mistake someone could have mentioned through a DM because you reached out. So all those kind of things really do pay dividends, and they pay compounded dividends in my opinion. So definitely try to do it today.